effect, but I still felt like we were attacking the ball that way.
Matt, you mentioned you're going to put the pads on for it?
Yes. Yep. We'll be rolling.
You mentioned Caleb's ability to move around and communicate. What needs to happen with, say, Jalen and Malik to make sure that they can keep up?
Yeah. Biggest thing for them is just every single day to improve, and so we'll mark out things, certainly like communication. That is the biggest thing when you're a safety and you're playing in the middle of the defense. You have to be able to communicate to both sides. You have to be able to communicate to the linebackers. You have to tie in all of that coverage stuff together, and then with the motions and the formations. And I think for them, with that communication, the hardest thing is just getting the game to slow down, as things start to move. That comes with game reps. We don't have game reps before we get to game one, so we're going to have to get it in practice the best we can.
And then how do you make sure you're not predictable when it's like Caleb with Malik versus Caleb with Jalen? Because
yeah,
there's different things that they can do, but
yep,
just can't be predictable.
Yeah, absolutely. Self-scout is really important there, but I think that they are well-rounded players. They all can do some things that be in different positions and be in different alignments and still be productive. So making sure that we're conscious of that and continually moving them around because we don't want to just be in one situation where you always know what it looks like.
Matt, talk about the differences, hash marks. You just mentioned there's no games before you play Texas.
Yeah.
Like, just in general, how are you finding that adjustment in terms of the big differences between college life?
Yeah, I never really appreciated those preseason games in the NFL, but right now I'm wishing we had one. I think, we would say it all the time, like everybody needs preseason, everyone needs training camp, and certainly game day operation I think is one that is really important, and I thought that was great to be able to do that in the NFL. We got to hit the ground running when we get to week one and make sure that as a coaching staff, we're on point. We have good communication, whether it's from upstairs to downstairs, being able to see what's on the field, even just simple things like substitutions and packages going in and out and people being in the right spot. So we have to simulate that as we go through training camp to make sure, our guys are great. They've done it before. It's probably more me nervous than anything. I'm the one that's got to adjust and change. So I think they'll be fine. I'll be the one that'll be trying to figure it out.
Matt, the day before you kind of going out the next day, after 2 days, is there a position group you want to spend more time with tomorrow?
I'm going to wait till I go back and look at today's tape, and then we'll kind of evaluate that. I will always generally gravitate to the linebackers. That is my natural sort of like backer hood. That's where I kind of hang out. But once we get through today's practice, and again, it was a little bit more early down stuff that I want to take a look at and just make sure that we're sound. There's a couple things I saw at practice that I want to make sure that they looked a little bit loose to me, so I want to tighten up. I'll probably be there tomorrow.
To clarify what Caleb is doing, there are times where it looks like he is like in a nickel spot and they're too deep or safeties. Do you call that a nickel?
Yeah.
I don't know,
it could be a couple different calls.
Okay.
It could be a couple different looks or a couple different sometimes based on formation. Mm-hmm. It could be something that maybe they're doing that we maybe change an alignment or switch something up.
And when you put him there, is that because you like him there? Or is it to give those guys a chance to play deeper? What's the sort of the balance in finding the spot for him versus we want to also just free these guys up to play?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Do we like him in a certain position and that's where we want to go? Maybe it's a matchup, maybe it's an alignment, maybe it's just depending on the motion. Sometimes some of the motion happens late, and you got to be careful about trying to either spin or adjust or move late and getting caught out of position. Sometimes it's actually just better just to stay. Everybody stay where they are and then play the positions that they're in as opposed to trying to maybe overrun and kind of get out leveraged. So some of that has to do with some of the formation adjustments too.
Man, last year when you were looking for a new court, so to speak, if you were watching a game, what is something you definitely changed about yourself or your approach that you can kind of put your finger on?
Yeah.
Having that sabbatical.
That's a great question. For me, I think last year, a couple things. One, it was really going back to I got into coaching for a reason. I left engineering to get into coaching because I just really wanted to teach and mentor, and how important my coaches were, especially in college. My college coaches were to just growing up, and being a young adult, a young man trying to figure it out. And so it was really a way to kind of give back. I wanted to give back and I wanted to help people. I just really wanted to help people and teach. Came from that background with my parents and stuff. So I think I had a good opportunity to kind of sit back and be like, hey, I got to get back to just, getting the joy of being a great teacher and a great mentor and those relationships. And so that was a big thing for me. That was really important. And that's what a lot of it drew me back to the college game, to being around, guys of that age, and that be able to have that influence. I will tell you that also last year doing media, I have a much better appreciation for how difficult the job is for all of you in the media to, do what you guys do every single day. Like that's not natural for me, but the work that everyone puts into it from the media standpoint, and to get the message out to the fans, right? And to be that connection between the coaches and the team and the fans, and to really also have that football mind, right? Where you're diving into the game and you're taking a look at schematics and scheme, and all of that is to me, that is an incredibly difficult job. And I would say I have a huge appreciation for that.
Players who were at
last question
last
here.
week really talked up Kenyatta Jackson as somebody who stepped up as a leader. What kind of growth have you seen from him this season?
I would echo all of that. I think Kenyatta has just really, from day one that I walked in the building, stepped forward and said, okay, hey, let me be in front. Let me do the drill first. Let me learn, let me do the lip. Whatever it is, it's like, get me out in the front. Let me go compete. Let me push myself. I think that everyone sees how hard he is pushing himself, and you can't help but gravitate towards that, saying, if this guy is working this hard, man, I got to get my stuff together. I got to go work as hard as he is, because, he is setting the standard as we go forward. And I think everybody feels that.
Great. Coach, thank you very much.
All right, appreciate it.